Unleashing your inner powerhouse, the audacity of authentic leadership. Welcome to the Black CEO podcast, where we dive deep into the minds of extraordinary leaders who are reshaping our world. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to share with you the profound wisdom and electrifying insights I gained from my recent interview with the incomparable Vanessa Anderson. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with Vanessa, let me paint you a picture. Imagine a force of nature wrapped in human form, a woman whose very presence commands attention and whose words have the power to ignite revolutions in boardrooms and living rooms alike. Vanessa Anderson isn't just a successful businesswoman. She's a beacon of hope, a catalyst for change, and a relentless advocate for women's empowerment in the professional sphere. With over 2 decades of experience shattering glass ceilings and redefining what leadership looks like, Vanessa has become a living legend in the world of business and personal development. Her work has touched the lives of countless women, inspiring them to step into their power, claim their seat at the table, and rewrite the rules of success on their own terms. But here's the kicker. Vanessa isn't content with just her own success. No, she's on a mission to create a tidal wave of female leaders who will reshape industries, challenge norms, and create a more equitable world for generations to come. So, buckle up, my friends, because the insights I'm about to share with you aren't just game-changing, they're world-changing. And trust me, by the end of this talk, you'll be itching to unleash your inner powerhouse and join the revolution of authentic, audacious leadership. Now, let's dive in, shall we? Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of your dreams, heart pounding, palms sweating, toes curled over the precipice of possibility. We've all been there, right? That moment when you can almost taste success, but something holds you back. Maybe it's that little voice in your head whispering, "Who do you think you are?" Or perhaps it's the weight of societal expectations pressing down on your shoulders, telling you to play it safe, to stay in your lane. Well, my friends, I'm here to tell you that the very thing holding you back, that fear, that doubt, that hesitation, it's not your weakness. It's your launch pad. You see, Vanessa Anderson has a radical idea. She believes that our challenges, our fears, even our so-called flaws are actually our secret weapons. And let me tell you, after speaking with her, I'm a convert to this revolutionary thinking. Let's start with a truth bomb that Vanessa dropped on me. One that I'm still reeling from. You matter. Your leadership matters. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, great, another feel-good platitude. But hang on, because this isn't just some warm and fuzzy affirmation. This is a call to arms. You see, in a world that often tells women to shrink, to conform, to silence their voices, Vanessa's message rings out like a battle cry. Your unique perspective, your experiences, your very essence, they're not just valuable, they're essential. The world needs your voice, your ideas, your leadership. And not in spite of your challenges or your differences, but because of them. Now, here's where it gets real. Knowing you matter and acting like you matter, two very different beasts. It's one thing to nod along to motivational speeches or double tap inspirational quotes on Instagram. It's another thing entirely to embody that belief in every interaction, every decision, every step of your professional journey. Vanessa shared a story with me that perfectly illustrates this point. Picture this. Early in her career, she found herself in a boardroom, surrounded by men in power suits, feeling like the ultimate imposter. Sound familiar? I bet many of you have felt that same knot in your stomach, that same voice whispering, "Do I really belong here?" But here's where Vanessa's story takes a turn. Instead of shrinking, instead of trying to blend into the wallpaper, she made a conscious decision. She stood up, voice shaking but determined, and presented her ideas with conviction. Was she terrified? Absolutely. Did she feel like she might pass out at any moment? You bet. But in that moment, she wasn't just speaking. She was declaring her worth, her right to be in that room, her valuable contribution to the conversation. This, my friends, is what it means to be intentional. It's not about waiting until you feel 100% confident. Spoiler alert, that day may never come. It's about choosing to act with purpose, even when, especially when you're quaking in your boots. Vanessa's message is clear. Your intentionality is your superpower. It's the bridge between knowing your worth and living your worth. And let me tell you, that bridge, it's not always stable. Sometimes it sways, sometimes it creaks, and sometimes you might feel like you're going to fall right off. But here's the secret. The more you cross it, the stronger it becomes. Now, I can see some of you shifting uncomfortably in your seats. Maybe you're thinking, that's all well and good for Vanessa, but my situation is different. I'm facing real challenges, real barriers. And you know what? You're absolutely right. The playing field isn't level. The game is often rigged. But here's where Vanessa's wisdom really blew my mind. She doesn't just acknowledge these challenges, she sees them as fuel for the fire. Let's talk about reframing. It's a concept that Vanessa is passionate about. And after our conversation, I understand why. Too often we see obstacles as roadblocks, as signs that we're on the wrong path. But what if we could shift our perspective? What if, instead of seeing barriers, we saw opportunities for growth? Vanessa shared a personal story that really drives this home. She was passed over for a promotion she thought she had in the bag. It stung. It made her question her abilities, her worth, her very place in the company. But instead of letting this setback define her, she chose to let it refine her. She sought feedback, not to wallow in criticism, but to identify areas for growth. She took on new projects, not just to prove herself to others, but to challenge herself, to expand her skill set. That promotion she missed, it became the catalyst for a journey of self-improvement that ultimately led her to opportunities she couldn't have imagined. This is the power of reframing. It's about taking the lemons life hands you and not just making lemonade, but using them to cultivate an entire orchard of opportunity. It's about understanding that your journey to success isn't a straight line, but a winding path full of unexpected turns, each one an opportunity to learn, to grow, to become more of who you're meant to be. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's all well and good, but how do I actually do this? How do I summon this magical intentionality and reframing power when I'm faced with real-world challenges? I'm glad you asked, because this is where Vanessa's insights get really practical and actionable. First and foremost, Vanessa emphasizes the importance of self-awareness. You can't lead others effectively if you don't understand yourself. This means taking the time to reflect on your values, your strengths, your areas for growth. It means being honest with yourself about what truly drives you, what lights your fire, what makes you want to leap out of bed in the morning, even on Mondays. Yes, it's possible. One exercise Vanessa recommends is creating a personal mission statement. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, great, another corporate exercise. But hold on, because this isn't about crafting some jargon-filled sentence that sounds good on paper but means nothing to you. No, we're talking about a clear, concise declaration of who you are, what you stand for, and what impact you want to have on the world. This isn't just a feel-good exercise. It's a North Star that can guide your decisions, big and small. When you're faced with a tough choice, when you're unsure of which path to take, your personal mission statement can be the compass that points you in the right direction. Vanessa shared her own mission statement with me, and I have to tell you, it gave me chills. To ignite the spark of authentic leadership in every woman I meet, creating a wildfire of change that transforms industries and reshapes the world. Now, that's a mission that gets you out of bed in the morning. But self-awareness isn't just about navel-gazing. It's also about understanding how you show up in the world, how others perceive you, and how you can leverage your unique strengths to make a positive impact. Vanessa encourages seeking feedback, not just from superiors, but from peers, from team members, even from that colleague you don't always see eye to eye with. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Feedback? No thanks. I'd rather stick needles in my eyes. But here's the thing. The goal isn't to change who you are to please others, but to gain a 360-degree view of your impact and identify areas where you can grow and improve. Vanessa shared a hilarious story about a time she received some particularly brutal feedback from a colleague. Instead of getting defensive or dismissive, she approached it with curiosity. Tell me more, she said, even as she was internally screaming. And you know what? That feedback, as painful as it was to hear, ended up being a turning point in her career. It highlighted a blind spot she didn't even know she had, and addressing it opened up new opportunities for growth and connection. Now, let's talk about something that many of us struggle with, vulnerability. In a professional world that often equates vulnerability with weakness, Vanessa's message is revolutionary. She argues, and I wholeheartedly agree, that true strength lies in embracing our vulnerability. It's about having the courage to show up as our authentic selves, to admit when we don't have all the answers, to ask for help when we need it. Vanessa shared a powerful story about a time when she made a significant mistake on a project. Her initial instinct was to try to cover it up, to make excuses, to deflect blame. But instead, she chose to own it. She went to her team, admitted her error, and asked for their help in fixing it. The result? Not only was the problem solved more quickly and effectively than if she had tried to handle it alone, but her team's respect for her grew exponentially. They saw a leader who was human, who was humble, who valued transparency and teamwork over ego. This, my friends, is the paradox of vulnerability. When we let down our guard, when we show our humanity, we don't become weaker. We become more relatable, more trustworthy, more influential. It creates a culture where others feel safe to take risks, to innovate, to bring their whole selves to work. And in today's rapidly changing business landscape, that kind of culture isn't just nice to have, it's a competitive advantage. But vulnerability isn't just about admitting mistakes. It's also about having the courage to dream big, to voice those dreams, and to pursue them even when the path isn't clear. Vanessa encourages us to be bold in declaring our ambitions. Too often, especially as women, we downplay our goals for fear of seeming too ambitious, too pushy, too much. But as Vanessa so eloquently puts it, your dreams are not too big. If anything, they're not big enough. She shared a story about a mentee who came to her hesitant to apply for a high-level position because she didn't meet all the qualifications listed. Vanessa's response? Since when do we let a job description dictate our worth? She encouraged her mentee to apply, focusing not on the qualifications she lacked, but on the unique value she could bring to the role. Spoiler alert, she got the job. This brings us to another crucial aspect of Vanessa's philosophy, the power of community. Success is not a solo sport. The image of the lone wolf, the self-made mogul who climbs to the top all by themselves, it's a myth, and it's a harmful one at that. Vanessa emphasizes the importance of building a strong network, not just for the sake of advancing your own career, but for creating a web of support, mentorship, and collaboration that lifts everyone up. This isn't about schmoozing at networking events or collecting business cards. It's about fostering genuine connections, about being generous with your time and knowledge, about creating a community where everyone is invested in each other's success. Vanessa encourages us to seek out mentors, yes, but also to become mentors ourselves, to look for opportunities to lift others as we climb. Because here's the truth, when we help others succeed, we create a rising tide that lifts all boats, including our own. Vanessa shared a beautiful analogy that really stuck with me. She likened building a supportive community to tending a garden. You can't just plant seeds and expect them to grow, she said. You need to nurture them, water them, provide the right conditions for growth. And sometimes you need to let go of relationships that no longer serve you to make room for new growth. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but I'm dealing with real-world challenges. I'm facing discrimination. I'm hitting glass ceilings. I'm juggling work and family responsibilities. How do I apply these principles in the face of systemic barriers? These are valid concerns, and Vanessa doesn't shy away from addressing them. She acknowledges that the playing field isn't always level, that women, especially women of color, often face unique challenges in the workplace. But she also firmly believes that we have more power than we realize to change the narrative. Vanessa encourages us to be strategic in our approach. Yes, there will be times when we need to challenge the status quo, when we need to speak up against injustice. But there will also be times when the most powerful thing we can do is to excel, to lead by example, to be so good they can't ignore us. It's about choosing our battles wisely, about knowing when to push and when to pivot. One strategy Vanessa recommends is to become an expert in your field. Knowledge is power. And when you're the go-to person for information and insights, you create leverage for yourself. She shared a story about a time when she was repeatedly overlooked for high-profile projects. Instead of getting discouraged, she doubled down on her expertise. She started a blog sharing industry insights, spoke at conferences, and became known as a thought leader in her field. Soon, those same people who had overlooked her were coming to her for advice and collaboration. Vanessa also emphasizes the importance of documenting your achievements, of keeping a record of your contributions and impact. This isn't about bragging. It's about having concrete evidence of your value when it comes time for promotions, raises, or new opportunities. She encourages us to keep a brag book, a collection of our accomplishments, positive feedback, and measurable impacts we've made. It's it's not just for others to see, it's a powerful reminder to ourselves of our worth and capabilities, especially on those days when imposter syndrome tries to creep in. But perhaps most importantly, Vanessa reminds us that our greatest power lies in staying true to ourselves in a world that often pressures us to conform, to fit into a predetermined mold of what a leader should look like, sound like, act like. Our authenticity is our greatest asset. It's what sets us apart, what allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, what enables us to bring fresh perspectives and innovative solutions to the table. Vanessa shared a powerful story about a time when she was advised to tone down her personality to fit in better with the corporate culture. She was told her enthusiasm was too much, her ideas too bold, her approach too direct. For a moment, she considered it, but then she realized dimming her light wouldn't serve anyone, least of all herself. Instead, she leaned into her uniqueness, using her enthusiasm to rally her team, her bold ideas to drive innovation, and her direct approach to cut through bureaucracy and get things done. The result? She not only succeeded, but changed the culture around her, creating a space where others felt empowered to bring their authentic selves to work. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with one final thought from Vanessa. She often says, your journey to success is not about becoming someone else, it's about becoming more of who you truly are. This, to me, encapsulates the heart of her message. It's not about changing yourself to fit the world's expectations. It's about having the courage to show up as your full, authentic self. And in doing so, changing the world's expectations. So, my fellow trailblazers, my audacious dreamers, my future world changers, I challenge you, no, I dare you to embrace your journey with intentionality, to reframe your challenges as opportunities for growth, to cultivate self awareness and practice vulnerability, to build and nurture a community that supports and elevates you, to stay true to yourself, even when, especially when it feels easier to conform. Remember, you are not just a passenger in your career, you are the driver. You have the power to chart your course, to navigate the twists and turns, to accelerate towards your dreams. And yes, there will be bumps in the road. There will be detours and roadblocks, but with intentionality, with resilience, with authenticity, there is no limit to how far you can go. As Vanessa so powerfully reminds us, your leadership matters. Your voice matters. You matter, not in spite of your challenges, your doubts, your uniqueness, but because of them. These are the very things that make you who you are, that give you your power, that enable you to make a unique and valuable contribution to the world. So, as we conclude this talk, I want you to ask yourself, what would you do if you truly believed in your own power? What heights would you reach for? What impact would you strive to make? And then I want you to go out there and do it because the world needs your leadership. The world needs your voice. The world needs you in all your authentic, intentional, powerful glory. But here's the thing. This isn't just about you. It's about all of us. It's about creating a ripple effect of change that transforms not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us, our industries, and ultimately our world. Every time you choose to be intentional, every time you reframe like a challenge, every time you show up authentically, you're not just changing your own story, you're changing the narrative for all of us. So I'm calling on you to be more than just inspired. I'm calling on you to be revolutionary, to be the leader you've been waiting for, to be the change you want to see in the world. Because if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Let's create a world where authenticity is celebrated, where vulnerability is seen as strength, where every voice is heard and valued. Let's build organizations that thrive on diversity of thought, that foster cultures of inclusion and empowerment. Let's reshape industries, challenge norms, and create a more equitable world for generations to come. This is your moment. This is your call to action. Will you answer it? Will you step into your power, claim your seat at the table, and use your voice to create positive change? Will you commit to being intentional, to reframing challenges, to embracing your authentic self? The world is waiting. The stage is set. The spotlight is on you. It's time to unleash your inner powerhouse and lead with audacity, authenticity, and purpose. Are you ready? Because I believe in you. Vanessa believes in you, and it's time for you to believe in yourself. So go forth, be bold, be brave, be brilliantly, unapologetically you. The world is ready for your leadership. The question is, are you ready to lead? Thank you.